Going live. And what does that mean? And over here it means nothing. Okay, I think we're there. Hello, everybody.
I start waving.
Yeah, start waving. And wait 8 seconds for them to tell us we're live.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hi again. This is going to be weird because of... Oh, Simon's here. And it's going to be weird for many reasons, really. One of them will be that I have like 5 screens right now. I should be looking at this one, talking to you, but I will probably forget, and I will look at Mikkel, who is over there. He sees me from there. So, yeah, not used to this stream thing. Yeah, bear with us.
We'll figure it out as we go along. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Or
Uh,
I'll just be awkward for like 5 episodes. Let's see.
So we have 11 people watching us right now, minus the views that we generate. Want to say hi, Mikkel? Tell us who you are, what you're doing here.
Yeah. So I'm in my office right now. It's like a huge mess because I'm doing secret stuff behind me. Um, and I guess I'm here because I don't actually know. I say stuff a lot. I think that's the biggest reason.
Yeah,
um, well, we're here to talk about firmware today, right?
we're here to talk about firmware, but first of all, for those who do not know Mikkel or will see it in the future and will try to figure out who are we. So Mikkel is a huge help with the EVA platform. And he's like the main admin of the Discord channel, and you can hear him everywhere, especially when you chant do it 3 times. Then he pops up. I am Pavel, and I am initially responsible for EVA. Eva, Eva. Let's vector the name.
Yeah, we can't even say it correctly
Yeah,
ourselves. Be good.
um, it's a Polish Eva, but you can call it Eva. No one will have it against you. So yeah, now Eva is more. There's more people behind it, even if there's not everybody's drawing it, but like drawing, cutting it. But yeah, so those are the 2 of us, and we figured that we're going to try and answer the frequently asked questions. We're going to answer the live questions later on. This is supposed to be like a frequent thing, like a frequent 30-minute thing. We'll see how it goes, how much beer you guys have and can withstand with us. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. So this would be it. Now let's argue about the firmware.
Yeah. So, question is, where do we start? Well, let's explain why we want to talk about it in the first place. There's been a lot of questions in the Facebook group, in particular, about what board to buy for the vCore 3 and what firmware to run on it. And yeah, we have. I don't know. You're gonna play devil's advocate today, right? Let's just give people a bit of perspective here. I am a huge Clipper advocate. If if people didn't already know, I've been using Clipper for 1.5 years by now, I think, and I love it. And when people tell me I should use RepRap firmware instead, I tell them no. Uh, um, so yeah, we'll dive into the pros and cons of the different firmwares, and yeah, just give people something to think about.
So the first thing is that probably you need to detach firmware from the board, right? From the
Yeah,
hardware.
Yeah.
because it's not the same thing. I do it
Yeah.
I like say, I say Clipper and do it,
Yeah.
right?
I keep
It's
doing that as well.
yeah, it's Clipper and RepRap firmware, right? That's
Yeah.
what do it ships with as firmware.
Yeah.
And that's so RepRap firmware is the firmware that's on version 3 something right now. Um, 3.2.2 probably, and they're going to there seems to be like a release soon, another minor release soon. Um, and Clipper is another thing. It works on many boards, right?
Yeah.
Also on some Duet boards, which is important.
Yep.
Not the newest ones, not the Duet 3 ones, either Duet 6HC or the Duet 5 Mini. Not yet.
There's actually a pull request for the Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus. That's the name of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a pull request pending right now.
awesome.
So it's probably just a matter of time.
Yeah. And with that, with Clipper, you additionally need, well, basically a PC, right? Which
Yeah. Some kind of. Yeah.
Raspberry is the perfect candidate for that, to run it all. Because for Clipper on the board that you have, whatever it is, really, if it works with Clipper, it's super dumb, right? It just receives the coordinates, does probably, I don't know the technicalities, but it does as little calculations as it
It
can.
makes basically no calculations. It's told which steppers to move at what time, and that's basically it. Then it communicates temperatures and all that stuff back and forth as well. But that's basically the extent of it. That's
Yeah.
all it does.
So
The
and
rest
if you,
happens of the Raspberry Pi.
so even if you have the best STM32 processor on a Duet board, on whatever board, it's still going to be uh, not even reaching the ankles of the computing power than a Raspberry can pull off, even the older ones, right? Where you
Yeah,
have multiple cores with a few gigahertz of power.
exactly. I think I have a 3 right now that I'm putting into secret stuff. Um, that's a quad core 1.2 gigahertz processor. And to put that into perspective, the MCU on the Duet 3 Mini 5 Plus is 120 megahertz a single core. It's totally, totally different beast. And of course, there's the floating point module stuff and fancy magic like that. But it's not the same as raw computing power, of course. Um,
Yeah, of course,
so
I totally understand computers and
yeah, I
all that
totally
stuff.
totally understand. um, yeah, so you can do a lot with those things. I'm not exactly sure how the technicality is, but yeah, it's a duet board with a 120 hertz megahertz CPU is not the same as a just a regular 120 hertz MCU because they have the extra cool stuff on the hardware.
Yeah, and then there's Marlin. That's not the end of the list really, but that's the three that I ever touched. So we're not going into others, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's all I have experience with
yeah.
as well.
So with Marlin, that's I repeat it always, so I'll repeat it again. A lot of praise should go to Marlin, right? Because um, thanks to the people that are behind it, we got where we are with do-it-yourself 3D printers, right? Homemade stuff.
Yeah,
Um, it wouldn't be as far as it is right now.
it would look
Um,
vastly different today if Marlin hadn't been around.
yeah, but given how the other two are built, Marlin just loses at this point with those, and those and in many planes really, right? Because it's functionality. It is also ease of use, right? If you
Yep.
put in VCore OS as a default, which we can for VCore, right? Thanks to Mikkel's work, by the way, we can the hardships that could be. People are mentioning the huge Clipper documentation page, right?
Yeah.
So he did all that. So he had to go through all that and pre-configured the image so that you just flash one SD card, put a file onto another, and it works almost automatically. So yeah, so Clipper is now not difficult at all. It's the simplest really because it's in my opinion it's harder to follow along my own guide about do it and configure it um, uh, you know through the settings panel of the web UI.
Yeah. Um, I'm not intimately familiar with the Duet setup process, but as far as I know, it's you need to connect to it with a terminal kind of thing and tell it what Wi-Fi network it needs to use and
So
stuff
let's
like that, right?
let's see that what Vector did recent on his stream, right?
Yeah,
Recently.
that's what I thought about. Yeah.
Yeah, so he needed to do that. He needed to do that just to give himself any connectivity. So
Hmm.
let's switch to that. And once you, so it's all when you configure Duet. This is the Duet's panel. Um, I have it just on my local network.
That's the web interface, right?
Web
That's
interface, yeah.
basically where you control everything. That's the Duet equivalent to Fluid or Octoprint.
Yes, and
Yes.
it even has a name, Duet Web Control.
Yeah.
So that's the counterpart of Fluid, which Marlin doesn't have by default, right? You could put an Octoprint on that,
Yeah.
and that would be kind of the same on the same level. So basically, you need to have this config G file, G as for G code, and from there he needed to put at least this command for it to um, enable to enable networking.
Yeah.
And from there you can go and already use this interface. So he even assigned himself an IP address. I didn't do it. I take it from my router's DHCP, which gave me this address, and now I just enter it through this thing.
Right.
And then you go in, and that's the end of the USB. You won't ever need to use the USB cable again on a Duet.
And that's kind of one of the nice things about Duet, right? Or well, I guess yeah, Duet. You get the web interface like for free. You don't need to add anything extra to have it run. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just automatically included.
Right. You can do the SBC
Yeah,
single board computer variant, which I don't understand. Not that I am, frowning upon it. I just didn't read enough to understand why it's done.
I think as far as I understand, being not a Duet user at all, the idea is to take the some of the work off of the board itself. There's no real reason to run an entire web server with the web interface. Right. Of course, most of it's done in the client, but there's still some work that has to be done on the board itself. So you're getting a little bit of extra performance back there, I guess, is the idea, right?
Hmm. Makes sense then.
I think
So
so.
yeah, so one of my first ever exchanges with Mikkel on our Discord server, probably over a year ago right now, was him making fun of the G code um, function names, let's say, right? Commands, because
Yeah.
I understand those as functions and just arguments of those functions provided there. And yeah, you can learn those. There's not that many, I guess. But
That's a lot.
yeah,
That's a
you
ton of them.
you touch the top ones once, yeah, once, and then if
Yeah.
you change your EVAs all the time because you test them, then yeah, then you go into weird stuff like over here. Yeah, you can see on my VCore Pro 1.3 there was a Dragon, there was a V6, Mosquito, Orbiter, BMG, So yeah,
Lots
that
of different things.
that poor Vicor went through a lot, like a lot, a lot.
It's the oldest VCore in the universe.
That's Vicor 1, that was Vicor 2, which ended up being a Vicor Pro, which I never probably assembled, the original one. I made easy mode straight out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and put EVA on it before it was even EVA. So yeah, it
crazy.
it went through a lot of mods. So yeah, so this is Duet. That's how you configure Duet, and then you get all this for free. What's nice about it is that I just hit the switch on my power bar, and like 2 seconds, and it's booted, and it's
Yeah.
ready to go. Um, and from here, yeah, home all, true bed leveling, it's all here. I don't have any macros, but on the other board I had like filament.
Actually,
Mhm.
now that you, sorry I interrupt you, but now that you say true bed leveling, because that's kind of a big feature of the VCore 3. Can you show me how that's done, how that's configured on the Duet,
Mhm.
just so we can compare? I know that might be a little unfair because I know the result in Clipper, but just show me.
How it's done, or do you want to see
I
the
want to see
file?
the bed G thing. That's the one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's happening here? Is there can you zoom that a little bit maybe?
In the config file, you tell it where the lead screws are or where the pivot points are, and I never remember. And then over here you tell it to do the first probe over here, the second over here, third over here, and then apply the transformation.
Right. So that one right there is that just one go? There's no
Yeah,
retries.
that's one go.
Right. So if you wanted to, because most of the time you won't get it perfect with one try. You need two or even three sometimes, right? So what do you do in that case?
You would I'm probably not the best guy to ask because as you can see, I stopped on this thing. But you would probably just copy those lines again.
Right.
So
So
you
you
have
should always
fixed,
run three times.
yeah. So you have
Yeah.
fixed 2 attempts, maybe
I think
side.
I saw someone doing it with a loop, but I think that requires RepRap firmware 3.3, right? Or is it 3.2? I don't remember. There's It's like you can do logic stuff in one of the later versions. So there's like a cool while loop. Well, I don't know if it's cool, but it works.
I
um,
I saw that once on Simon's GitHub repository
yeah,
when I was stealing stuff from him.
yeah. I guess that would be one way to do it. I don't. I believe it's in the guide. I might be wrong. Let me just check. Uh, that G. It's not. No one. Okay, but it lives somewhere in Discord. Somebody said it at some point. If you search for while, maybe it'll show up. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. It's. I guess it's not too bad. My big issue with all that is I can't read it. I need that there needs to be comments everywhere telling you what that does exactly. And when I watch people go through their config files, they always need to have their config reference or the RepRap documentation next to them, so they can see what does this random named parameter for this random named m is something mean in practice. Because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. There's a reason there's 3 digits after the m.
Yep,
um,
that's true. Just check out this position of lead screws
yeah.
over here. Yeah, there's a lot. So yeah, when it comes to configuration on a vCore, where we are right now, right, with vCore OS, um, Clipper, when it comes to the entry point, I would say, is the easiest one of them, my subjective opinion. And Clipper, if this was Duet's web control interface, right? Here's the Clipper one, which I have on my vCore 3. Like graphics aside, which one is prettier or not, it's not about that, um,
They look
but
fairly similar if you go for the light theme, actually.
yeah, probably. But yeah, this is it. And you can also, which is like what seems to be the um, what seems to be the confusion for Marlin users when they say that it's easier, right? Um, it's not, right? Because aside of the things that you can configure and save into EEPROM, to configure something, you need to pull the SD card back, um, compile the firmware again, put it on the SD, and push it in again, which can be difficult or tedious at least, right?
Yeah,
Over here, if I need to switch recompile, right, Simon? Over here or on Duet, if I need to change the motor's direction, for example, I go to my printer config, edit, and what do I do? Stepper Y, yeah, direction pin. So I have like Chinesium motors with wires that I splice myself. So I don't have the wires that come from that you people will get from Ratrick, for example. So mine was uh, different, simply put. So I needed to change the direction of them, and that's
yeah.
it.
And
Stepper,
so, some people will have to do this. I believe I might have done goofed in the, in the actual configuration. I need to double check all my wires again. Um, but yeah, that's how you do that if
yeah,
you need to reverse the direction.
goofed or not, the fix takes like 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
5 if you're a slow typer.
Yeah. Um, and the same can be said for most of the other things you can change, right? So if you that's another thing. So what Marlin calls linear advance is what RepRap and Clever calls pressure advance. Uh, if I remember correctly, that's not so easy to calibrate on the Marlin machine as
I
opposed to
I
RepRap and
I
Clipper.
did that once a while ago, so I don't know how it is right now. But yeah, you had to do that test, which was a weird experience because you had to generate the G code outside of your slicer, right? So it was
Yeah,
I didn't like the procedure because my start and G code was different.
yeah,
And then yeah, and then see which lines of like the little snake, which one of them looked the best, and then you set your K value to something that came out of
can
that.
can you do that via the EEPROM today, or back then even,
No
or is
idea.
it something? All right,
No idea.
they should have done that, right? I don't know. I just remember having to do it through firmware compilation. That was horrible. So yeah, today it's in Clipper. What you do is you go to the guide, and then you print the model they ask you to, slice the way you asked it, the way they ask you to, and then you measure them with calipers and enter a value, and you're done. Um, and it's how is it on Duet? There's no official way to do it, is there?
Uh,
I called it Duet again. RepRap firmware.
there is they have in their guide they just tell you to slice to slice a very thin walled cube, empty inside, and then look at that with the seam on the back, and on that seam you can very nicely you can see every 5 millimeters or something like that you change the pressure advanced value, and
Right.
you can see very nicely how it's tearing apart like
Yeah.
a dress on a fat man on his back.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So that's funny actually that they use the seam, but that's a good one too. In Clipper, you mainly look at the corners. You can of course look at the seams as well. You can look at like the entire model. Um, but yeah, there are several ways to calibrate that thing. There's a tuning tower command in Clipper that you can run with any G code file. You just run it first and tell it what values to change over how long a distance, and then it'll do that as it prints your model. Then you
And
can
it's
measure it afterwards and use it.
and the useful links are right here in the configuration, which
Yeah,
Mikkel cannot see live, but you guys can.
I have it over here. It's
Yeah.
it's a little bit delayed, but I can see it.
Okay.
So
So
yeah,
yeah, check out all the links when you're doing this. And then maybe wiring, which may be, scary on a do-it-yourself printer.
yeah,
How does that compare? And it compares pretty much one to one, right?
yeah.
Well,
There's no big differences there.
yeah, almost, let's say, because let's use the big pictures. So Duet has those connectors, and they ship it to you with the connectors in the bag and with the things to crimp. So you need the crimper. You probably still want a crimper. I
Yeah,
remember my first Duet 2 board, I soldered them in. It worked for a decent amount of time. Um, they
the
failed.
biggest
Eventually they failed, but it was like a year. I did had a crimper since then.
right, right. The biggest issue I had with trying to solder those things was when you accidentally flow some tin into the receptacle thing and it won't open anymore, so you can't push pins into it.
Oh yeah,
It's not so good.
yeah. I just let gravity help me then,
Yeah,
but I ran into the same exact thing.
yeah, that can be a little tricky if you don't know.
Yeah, Duet. That's another Duet, and then SKR. And again, it is basically the same. You still have the same electronic like uh, ends, right? The
Yeah,
motors, you have to wire them. Well, you have an extra fan. Okay, for the SKR, you have an extra fan because the cooling of the TMC drivers, they like to be actively cooled, right?
yeah, but as I know that Duet, the 3 Mini 5 Plus thing doesn't actually tell you to cool it actively, but it does not hurt. They tell you can only run the TMC 2209s in that one at 1.4 a RMS max, right? But they can go way higher than that. You can do two, no problem. It's just a matter of cooling. But yeah,
Mm,
you should cool your electronics, people. It's not that hard.
yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend people do that either way. But
Stu
that's just me.
Stu Serious is asking how are those diagrams made? They look clean. You really don't want to know. It's like t 20 hours for every diagram.
Yeah, that was that took a while, huh?
But yeah, I do them in Onshape. Those are 3D models with
Yep.
a bunch of extrusions and wires and stuff like that.
Also, you modeled that SKR 1.2 from the bottom up.
I did because I couldn't find one.
Yeah, it's pretty
Or I or
crazy.
I could, but I wasn't sure about the license, so yeah, I just did it.
Yeah. Fuck it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is sometimes. So yeah, for the wiring, it's kind of the same thing. And it would be Clipper and Marlin would be the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
Aside
So,
aside from a Raspberry connected via a USB, which we
which is
all
not pictured, by the way.
which is not pictured. I'm not fixing that. Which is not.
What? You don't want to model a Raspberry Pi and a beautiful
there.
USB wire?
There is an official model. Thank God.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, but people should be able to connect a USB, right?
Yeah, it's that's not really difficult. The worst part of it is getting the power there. There's you can do it the easy way and just use the official Raspberry Pi power brick thing. where you can do weird shit. And I just I just got a message from Mikkel telling me that I can actually show this. But what I've done here, this is
Let me
the
throw you
minion stuff.
on a bigger
Oh
screen.
yeah, this is not going to be up close. You're not going to get all the details, but you can see some of it. I'm just going to point at it. So what? I don't know. Am I big?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
you're bigger.
I'm bigger.
I don't have a
Excellent.
full screen with you.
So what I've done here is I've actually, and this is, you should don't do this at home, but I'm using an old 8-bit board because I have Clipper, so why not? I just had this laying around. So what I'm actually doing is I slapped the heatsink on the DC-DC converter in there. So it should give me a couple extra amps from the 5-volt rail on the board itself. So I used the 5-volt from the Tri-Gorilla board and just connected it to the Pi, and it's powered. And I don't even have a USB cable. I don't think. Yeah, let's see if no, I can't move it. Everything will fall apart. But there's no USB cable either. It's just 4 wires going down to the board, and that.
I would
Shit.
I would like that better. So you're able to use a different UART?
Yeah, I just use there's a UART3 on the Arduino Mega thing. They have 3 UART ports, and the third one is often exposed on the boards, so you can just use that one. Then you just tell Clipper that you're using UART3 instead of UART0, and stuff works. It's
And
kind of magical.
And on the Raspberry side?
You just need to find the right pins, and then you tell Clipper what the serial port is, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So it's much more involved than just slapping on vCore and be done with it, but you can do interesting stuff, which helps when you have tiny enclosures.
I'll fix that. Okay.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I just shortened the plug of with a paper knife, and it did bend, so it works.
That works too, I guess. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
user error in this case, your fault.
My bad.
Yeah.
Don't blame me for the fires.
So, enough about the boards. Did we We probably didn't help anybody, but
no, it just made them more confused.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we could end. I'm gonna end it anyway by making a recommendation, and that's if you already have Duet and you feel comfortable with it, maybe you already have a board. It's totally fine to go with Duet. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's gonna have input shaper soon. It's great hardware. Software is great. You can do great. That's actually something I forgot to mention. You can do pretty crazy stuff with the G-code everywhere kind of philosophy of RevRap firmware. You can just in the middle of your G-code, you can just start saying, "Oh, we are Cartesian now, and this is these steppers over there," and do all kinds of weird shit just on the fly. You can't do that with Clipper. So if you want to do weird, crazy things, RevRap firmware is really good for that. But yeah, if you're chasing performance, ease of setup, especially for the vCore 3, I would choose Clipper. Also, you get input shaper now, so you don't get that quite yet with the RevRap.
And input shaper is magic.
It's pretty magic, yeah.
He helped me set
People
it up.
always say it's not a magic button that you just push and everything's fine. And I go,
It
yeah, it is.
kinda is.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
And I learned that I can see in like 70 hertz. Or something like
Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny thing.
Yeah, because it when it configures, if you have the accelerometer the thing on the carriage, which by the way the shroud is probably not the best place for it. Yeah, you tell it to configure itself, and it starts to vibrate in X and then in Y, and you can see how it vibrates, and it went up to 133 hertz for me.
Yeah,
So it was just like making noise, but I couldn't see it moving. From like 70 hertz up, I couldn't just see it, which is
it's
good. I know not to fall for that 144 hertz
oh yeah,
screens.
oh yeah.
I'm too blind for it anyway.
That's an entire different discussion that
Yeah.
brings up some very interesting arguments. Uh, um, yeah, that's fun and it's cool and it works and the prints are great. That's just yeah. So, but you can't really go wrong with either. I just wish you'd choose Clipper. All right, so be
If it
that as it
if
may.
if it was a paid thing, we would already accuse you for having shares
Yeah,
over there. Yeah.
look, you make Mikkel sad.
If you if you have a dual board, I concur is the right word. I agree
Yeah,
completely. With what Mikkel said, it's like if you have a dual board and everybody's talking clipper, 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 don't like waste your money. Not immediately, at least. Go with
no,
duet if you have a duet board. It's fine. Really, it's fine.
it is fine. The Duet 36HC and especially is a beast of a board. Like it's there's nothing like it out there. It's crazy, and it will be supported by Clipper eventually. So I guess
And that is a awesome upgrade path, right? Because there's
yeah,
like I wouldn't. Well, there is this SKR and Big Tree Tech, right? It is a
yeah,
brand, but quality control over there, I'm not sure about it as much as I would be on a almost EU based, right? The Brits escaped
yeah.
from EU, but yeah, I
Oh, that
I
whole
bet
thing.
I bet it's better. Yeah, next stream we'll talk about taxes in Poland.
Yeah,
Please save us. But um, yeah, so the hardware, if it could have the hardware of Duet and Clipper on it, that would be awesome.
I think that would be insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, you can already do that with the Duet 2
Hmm.
if you
Yep.
wanted to.
Yeah. So do it
Uh,
do it to users if you have those already in your trying to put it on a vCore. Yeah, I would go with that.
you can do it. You just have to do it manually. There's no vCore for you yet,
Hmm.
but there probably will be at some point. Um, that's I'll get to that when I'm done with all the other stuff I need to do. There was a couple of questions here. Um, let me see.
Yeah, I can only see the ones that people ping with. It's scrolling too fast for me.
Yeah. Stu Serious asks if I caught you up on the float page they're doing. Did I tell you they are adding a preset theme for the vCore or Brad Rig in general?
The fluid UI
Yeah,
branded for like Ratrig. Yeah, you,
yeah,
you you mentioned it
it's
on,
pretty cool.
on one of our late evening talks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the the
So
the
you
the things he
you
says really awful stuff. Yeah. Um, right? It it's
yeah,
yeah.
it's me. I'm the problem. That's of course. Oh yeah,
But yeah, I heard it's awesome. It's awesome that like people care, right? There's like
yeah, it's so cool.
yeah.
Like I was kind of mind blown when Stu all of a sudden went in the chat and was like, "Hey, so do you want to? Should we? I don't know, share communities, do stuff. We think this is awesome." And I was like, "Wait, how do you know who I am? What's going on here?" That was kind of a weird experience. It was super cool. Um, and they're in the Discord now too. Both Stu and Cadriel. That's awesome. Super cool. Very nice community involvement there, guys.
Did did you tell your girlfriend about that you're famous because you compiled this Clipper thing and she cared a lot and understood everything, like my wife did when I was selling.
Yeah, I wish. I've tried to explain some things to her a couple times, and then I just see her stare just goes blank. It's just, it's the yeah. I've just given up on that part. So this is what it is.
Yeah.
She knows what happens when I press the button and plastic comes out, but that's about that. So
Mm,
yeah, it's what it is.
okay. Um, any more questions around boards?
There
We
was
we
B
we,
course
we wanted
is.
we wanted to do like 30 minutes, right?
Oh, how far are we?
40.
Great, and we didn't even get to all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should just move on then. So there's one question here. BCORS is pre-configured for the. That's not a question. That's a statement. Okay, moving on. Sorry.
So I have like a few updates, maybe. We should probably lead with that. We're going to
Yeah.
change the channel name because it's my name, as you can see. I'm going to change it to. I'm not. I'm not sure yet, really. That's a very nice question. What's next for Pavel? I'm working on things that I'm never sure if I should talk about, so I won't. Um, so there's that. Minion is one of them, and I'm not the only one working on it. So yeah, there's things that are going to pop up. For EVA, I'm doing super interesting, like it's going to blow your minds kind of thing. I'm doing preparing super bombs for vendors, which is a lot of coding and and parsing CSV files to,
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
gather all of the parts so they can like follow quicker. Ratrik, I mean, so they can follow quicker and release with a newer EVA hardware sets when they're shipping.
Yeah.
So that's important. It's just super boring, but
Yeah.
I need to get that out of my hair. Uh, hair. And so yeah, that's what's going on right now. And after that, there's the heat insert stuff, right? Trying to automate that a little bit. Was able to script that because in Onshape is cool. You can like code shapes and stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know if I don't think people actually know that's coming at all, or what the issue is, or why we're actually considering doing something about it.
Issue or not, but it was, Detlef started working on those. Uh,
Yeah.
for me, I don't want them in ASA. I don't print with that stuff because kids are asleep too close, so any smell would be like, I would be irritated by it, so I don't want it. Just PETG for me, really. But maybe I'll put one of them in the basement, so maybe then. But yeah, but those heat inserts for me, they look awesome.
Yeah, they add. It's like it looks like quality when you put them in.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
but I don't want to force everybody to have a soldering iron and skills to put them in. I don't have those yet, so yeah, it is supposed to be screws and nuts, but there will be, hopefully, when we get around that, because it's, the parts that are going to be uh, two variants, that's another permutation, and already I have a lot with the
Yeah.
releases. So yeah, we'll see about that. But it's something that being worked on as well, or will
Yeah.
soon be.
It's to the purpose of it is to better support ABS and ASA stuff, right?
Hmm.
Because it's softer, it stretches easier than PETG does. So uh, they, there can be issues with nut stripping if you're too rough with your ABS and ASA parts. I've had some issues with that. So that's mainly what they're for. If you mainly use EVA in PETG mode, you don't need this at all. The nuts are totally fine. But yeah,
At some point, I will talk about hit inserts like Mikkel talks about Clipper. Um, yeah, I was about to ask about EVA versions supplied by Ratrik. Yeah, so this is going to get better because they are also nobody wanted to, for me to wait for them to be ready, and they have plenty on their heads. So it would be just, frustration waiting and like trying to sync up. So if someone wants to be on the not even bleeding edge, but on the most recent version, then yeah, source them yourselves. It's just screws and nuts. That's what it's all about, to be accessible
Yeah,
for
buy
everybody.
$3, and you're good, basically.
Yeah, yeah, do that.
Yeah,
And then yeah, and then they follow. So we're trying to close that gap for them to be able to follow as quickly as possible to update their internal bombs or BOMs, bills of materials.
yeah, not
Um,
actual bombs.
that's pro. Is that something kinky that I said? I didn't even realize.
No, bombs like with a B at the end.
But
The, the things that explode.
oh, okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Never mind.
bombs, not booze. Um, okay. Um, so there's that. Yeah, I probably forgot something, but there's always plenty of things that are being done. Even if those are not visible, then there's something being done. Like how long we planned to deploy this stream?
Oh yeah,
Two weeks?
it's been. I think it's been closer to a month actually. We've been talking about it
Okay,
forever.
yeah.
But yeah, 2 weeks planning. Yeah,
And I'm also the
um,
first week in my new job, right? Which
yeah, that too.
and I need to learn new stuff to be
Yeah,
effective there. So yeah, plenty going on. Um,
yeah. That's always that's a crazy transition to
and
be
the
going through.
tool changer thing. I'm like I would just like to throw everything aside and start working on that. I am
Yeah,
almost obsessed with it. Can you see that?
there's a
Oh
couple
no.
things going on in Discord. There's a couple of guys who want to do tool changes for the V3s.
And I saw that channel today. That's how behind I am.
Yeah, yeah, but you're actually doing important stuff. So I'm just sitting around Discord bullshitting all day. So
Uh, yeah, it would die out without you, I'm sure. Any plans for
nah,
having
that's so many
guests?
active people by now. But
Uh,
thank you. Sorry.
yeah, and also other guys, right? Like Detlef today helping
Yeah.
or like explaining to the nice slice person that joined us. I don't know if Max is his name or is that like a just an alias. But yeah, we have someone watching. It's growing. It's awesome. And people with
Yeah.
the EVA team role are helping a lot. Those are the guys that know that are for a long time over here and were using the first EVAs even. Um, so yeah, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Please praise them as well. Uh, Thank you guys for awesome work. Hope Patrick appreciates what you're doing for us. They do. Uh,
Yeah,
any
they
plan
do.
any plans for having guests in the streams? Yes, right. We've talked about that, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to do well, maybe not today because it's already super long, but we wanted to have guests. That's one thing, but also make like a EVA contrib showcase,
Yep.
right? The
Yep.
new additions over there and show off the stuff that we had nothing to do with, but people are making, and we can brag about them that people are
Yeah.
making them. So yeah, the whole contrib EVA 3D page is there. It's live. I just don't stop liking Thingiverse to my own demise, probably because it is a source of people coming in,
Yeah.
a source
It
of
is.
people basically, so they could um, maybe we'll put something on Thingiverse as well. But there's country page, there's Mikkel that will help you to put stuff over there, and we would want to advertise it more and things that are there. We wanted to talk about the cooling solution. Yeah, please show us that's the part, and then
This
there's
is
the
the dual fan back, the dual 5015 fan back made by Super Sniffles, is what he goes by in Discord. I'm actually running this exact setup on my VCore 3 at the moment, and it's pretty good. There's do I have yeah There's a new duct for it as well. Has a wider bottom duct for needing less pressure, basically. So the issue we found with the current EVA duct is that this is much smaller, so you need more pressure to push more airflow through. So we widened it by quite a lot, or Super Sniffles did. And that actually helps out a lot. And I have a 7530 mod too. I just got this insane fan. this is this is ridiculous. This is just brain dead stuff. But I got this in the door yesterday. This is a 30 CFM 3.6 inch H2O fan. It burns 27 watts at 12 volts, 70 dB of noise.
Yeah, we had many before the stream. We talked about it. We had many names for it, but now I think it's either the printer is in the basement kind of fan, or your significant other makes you live in the basement.
Yes, something like that. So you'll go tone deaf if you stay in the same room with this fan something crazy. It's a long name, but yeah, it's crazy fan. It'll be interesting.
Yep,
Um,
you're going for that Benchy.
yes, I want to have the world's fastest PLA Benchy, and it's gonna happen without weird shenanigans. Okay, I guess that's a weird shenanigan, but yeah,
If it fits on the carriage.
it's legit, right?
Yeah.
No compressors here.
So we even did shout out a country, right? Of
Yes,
Super Sniffles. So yeah, good,
yeah, we did.
good guys, us.
He does awesome work.
Yep, I saw it. Yeah, Nova is coming when I get it. When I get it, it goes through Polish customs, which is painful. Um, and
Custom's always painful.
yeah, and yeah, when I get it, test it. You saw me do it almost live, right, on the on shape tutorial
Yep.
that I did. Um, Feedback was nice. Also,
Yeah,
it's always it's like useless. It's like 1 minute out of the 40 minute recorded that it's useful, but it's sometimes a game changer,
totally.
like a tool. So yeah, I was glad to hear that. Um, and yeah, and I should probably stop talking right now uh, and eat something. So please, any questions before we go? Unless Mikkel, you have something else to add?
Nope. There's a couple questions. There is, how do you plan to power this fan? I'm guessing that's the big, weird fan, big ass fan, the bath. Um, I have a 12-volt power supply with 10A, so that won't be a problem. It's a four-wire fan, so there's a separate PWM pin and there's a tachometer pin as well, so you can actually get the RPMs directly in your Clipper interface, which is awesome. Uh,
So you're going to have three rails, 5, 12, and 40, 24,
yeah,
and mains
yeah,
to the
pretty
bed.
much. Yeah, it's
Full
yeah,
package.
it's kind of ridiculous, but it's fun. Also, you might want to run 12 volts for some lights, maybe. So it's not like a bad investment. I don't know.
You saw I have this Cobb LED strip, which is
Yeah,
24 volt,
I have a roll of
and
that too somewhere.
yeah, and it's nice. Also
Yeah,
because it's 24 volt. And I
yeah.
didn't answer the question, I think, the question about guests in the streams. So yeah, we would like to have you guys talking here as well. So I would need to talk less. You know, Mikkel is the front man, and I'm sitting in the basement or in a closet drawing stuff.
No. I'm just a crazy fan. You're the rock star. Please.
Please stop it. No, continue. So yeah,
Yeah.
guess for sure.
Yeah, that
Any
would be
more
cool.
questions? Did you caught any more questions?
Nope. I think that's it.
bike gear Pavel's idea for a tool changer is very smart. Which one? There's like 8 of them. I like magnets the most, like static magnets,
Yeah,
because it's just simple and it takes no space, and it worked on my hypercube. You can find that. But that was when 60 millimeters per second was fast times for that hypercube, 12 volts. It was like 80 was already, going into stealth chop, not stealth chop, but spread cycle, which was loud, and
yeah.
but it worked on it, so I would really want to revisit that. So yeah,
Also, magnets are cool.
magnets are cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Will the double fan mount be in the order options? No, you will have to print that yourself. It's not an official EVA thing yet, at least. You talked about you wanted to do some stuff with cooling in EVA, right? You might widen the duct below,
Yeah,
maybe.
if that's going to prove itself not detrimental for the detrimental.
Yeah,
So
that's the right word.
if it won't prove itself detrimental for the standard variant, right?
Yeah,
Uh, because I'm always pulling it down from the aspirations that people have, right? Because the first principle of EVA is for it to be accessible and the entry point to be low, and whatever you have on your shelf, like a Titan and a V6, it should work with your printer without
yeah.
extra monies, right? So it has to work with a standard 50-15 fan first of all, and then if it works with something else, then sure. So if the wider outlet of the back will work for those as well, then yeah, then let's go with that. That's less
We'll have to
permutation.
test that out and
hmm
see
Which
what that looks like.
which I think I'll do soon.
Nice. Is it possible config base? What is possible config base vcast inside another a standard config base? I don't understand that question. Something about the vcast and the standard config.
Yes, sorry. Proxy.
Yeah.
You'll have to rephrase that.
How long until we have a Magnum Plus mount? About that.
hmm
So Slice actually recommends that you don't have a plastic mount for the Magnum Plus. So it will have to come with warnings if EVA is about to ship with a Magnum Plus mount.
Um, so the thing that I don't like to do is to deploy without testing those.
Yeah,
So I don't need more hotends really at this point at least, but I really want like to have those in my hand to feel them and to see where the heat is and stuff like that, because yeah, I'm not skilled enough to figure it out in CAD. That's probably the reason.
it needs proper testing.
Yeah, so I would not want to deploy an EVA without testing that Magnum Plus thing. But I really don't want to spend your donation money on that right now. I would rather the next purchase for that cash, and I think there's enough, would be the LGX for flexible set, because there
Yeah,
are
there's been a
yeah
lot of
pe
requests for that one.
yeah people may wanna. It's not the perfect thing for Codex Y. I think we can all agree on that, but yeah, those front heavy ones, I don't like them really. But if you want to print flexibles, yeah, that or Hemera. I would probably go with the LGX personally because I kind of like it.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, let's do that first. So Magnum Plus, I'm not sure. And also there's this Vez 3D,
yeah,
right, on YouTube, and I think he's using that right now. So and he based it off EVA,
yeah,
so it would probably be compatible. So we may try with him.
yep. That's a good idea. Maybe if somebody decides to make one, we can put it on the contrib page.
hmm
That's also an option.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, where can we get the Radric fluid theme? And Stu already answered that, so that's great. And okay, so he rephrased his question. In practice, if it is possible to have a config base like that of the vCore 3 that is present on your site at 1200 euros instead. Oh, we're not actually affiliated or employed. Actually, I guess we're kind of affiliated. We're not employed by Radric, so um, we're just users.
That
But
yeah, that's a common misconception with which we could lead of with
yeah,
as well. Uh, More than that, EVA is separate as well. It's it is public domain, not for sale, right? Um, and yeah, and that's just we own it. We as the people, yay, own it.
yeah,
Um, of course, I wouldn't want the only vendor that uses it to make their life difficult, so I wouldn't do anything against them or make like a difficult part for them to, print or ship. But yeah, but that's us, and they use it and support it and help us with their experience, for example. Um, so yeah, that's that. And we're not Ratrick employees. We're just uh, active users.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
So
think that's. I guess we're kind of at the end now.
yeah.
You can go get something to eat.
So so sorry we don't have an answer for your question.
Yeah,
Or more is it like a Vcast OS kind of thing?
I don't know because he mentioned 1,200 euros and things, so I don't think
Mhm.
it's Vcast OS. But yeah, I don't know. But that could Vcast OS could be a thing if people wanted it, but it would probably be vCore OS, which would just include another file instead of the vCore 3 thing.
Mhm. Just not to have the
So
big Raspberry image, right?
yep, should be the same image, hopefully.
Compensation from Ratrick, it's not something we should probably talk about like openly, right? Um, like even any money aside, like I get some screws from for EVA stuff like that. So yeah, they are involved. Where I'm not me, for example, I don't feel hurt in any way or mistreated. So yeah, uh, it is awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah,
don't
they keep us happy.
they keep us happy. Yeah. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I think we'll call that the first episode of EVA Live.
Yeah. Let us know what needs to be improved. Longer, shorter, um,
Yeah.
everything. Weird Pavel angle. Um, yeah. Let us know. Um, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye. And the stream is down.